on May 15th. Okay, Lindsay, if you would lead us with the roll call.
Mayor Longos.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Holland.
Here.
Commissioner Bradley.
Here.
Commissioner Plum.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
Okay. And Commissioner Brownlow, if you would lead us in the opening prayer.
Those who want to participate, please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you today as we gather for this special meeting of the Board of Commissioners. We ask your guidance, wisdom, and a spirit of discernment as we undertake the solemn duty of filling this vacant seat. Grant us the clarity to look beyond the surface and to recognize the person who will best serve the interests of all of our citizens and the future of our town. May the person selected serve with humility, integrity, and a servant's heart. Help them place the interest of Emerald Isle above personal, professional, or special interest, and may their reasons be for serving be rooted not in self-status or an advantage, but in a genuine desire to serve the people and protect the character of this community. May our deliberations be marked by fairness, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to what is best for our town. Guide our decisions, strengthen our unity where possible, and help us move forward with wisdom, courage, and purpose. In your most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me.
Okay, next on the agenda, we will need a motion to adopt the agenda as written.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, so if we'll go ahead and open it up to public comments. Do we have a sign-up sheet this morning?
Yes.
Okay. No one signed up, okay? Did anyone miss the sign-up sheet but would like to have public comments? Okay, all right. So, yeah, okay. When you arrive at the podium, if you'll please state your name, your address, and then just remember that we're going to try to keep it to a 2-minute time limit.
Mindy Dennis, 7126 Canal Drive, and I'm very nervous because I'm angry. Josh Sawyer's my son, and I feel like Josh was done very wrong. I get rules are rules, but one man was responsible for this. And one man did this because he didn't get his way, because he couldn't control somebody. And I want y'all to really think about that when you appoint the next person that takes that seat. Because they can either be bought and be controlled by one man, or you can put somebody in that seat that isn't bought, and that's an independent thinker. In my opinion, I'm gonna throw Jamie Vogel's name out there, because Jamie cares about this community, and I think she's proved that in very many ways. But aren't we tired? Aren't we tired in politics of people being bought and paid for? Aren't we tired of the powerful controlling everything, controlling people, making decisions from behind the curtains? I'm tired of it. That's what's wrong with Washington today. Powerful people control everything. We're a very small island. We all love this island. I truly think my son wanted to do what was right for this island. But because he didn't fall in line, one man was really concerned with where he laid his head at night. One man spent a whole lot of money to get him out of that seat. I'm through now, but it's up to y'all to make sure that who sits in that seat isn't controlled by that man. Do it for the town of Emerald Isle. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Okay. If you please state your name and your address.
Sure. Nate Bowman, 108 Greg Street. I think everybody in this room knows the games you've been playing. I just want to watch you play it. If you think there's been a microscope on you so far, to quote Randy Bachman, you ain't seen nothing yet. So go on with your little charade. Put your seat in there like you're going to do it, and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. Yes, ma'am?
Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Pamela Whitaker, 108 James. Is just appointing someone, this group appointing someone, the only way that the choice can be made? I mean, I'm just looking at who else was running. They had, I don't know, 600 votes, 700 votes. Why aren't they considered next on the list? I don't know Robert's Rules of Orders on this, but I just wonder why somebody that did get voted on is not being considered. And to me, no offense, a random person just being plopped in.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to hear just, and maybe I don't get that, I'm still learning how this works, but I guess I'm wondering, is this the only way that this board just picks somebody? Is that the only way that a selection can be made?
Yes, but we are going to talk through the different methods that we might use for this. But yes, we do have the authority to appoint the person in the MCC. Mhm. Anyone else at this point? Okay, so we'll move forward to begin our discussion. And I just would like to say to all of you up here how important I think it will be that we try to come to a unanimous decision. And I don't think it necessarily needs to be made swiftly just to get there. I think we need to really try to cooperate and work together on this. To start the discussion, I would like to kind of go down the line and hear from each of you your thoughts on how this process should go. Not necessarily who you should appoint, but how the process should be handled. And I want to take the liberty to first say that I think we need to open up to public applications for a couple weeks and to kind of see who we have that might be interested and then move forward from that time and collect those applications and then take a vote at that time. Would anyone like to volunteer to start, or should I call in somebody? Okay, Alicia?
Thank you, Mayor Lagos. This is a decision that has to be made with careful thought and consideration for the community as a whole. Currently, we're in the middle of the budget process, and I would personally like to see us, as Mayor Lagos suggested, open this up to applicants, and we will resume this once we complete the budget process. And that's, it may seem like a long way away, but hopefully we're going to approve this budget in just a little over 3 weeks. So I think that's sufficient time to open up for applications, give us time to review those applications, and then I would say that we call another special meeting to discuss the outcome of that.
Roy?
Thanks, Mayor. This is an open application process, but it still results in the board choosing someone that the voters did not directly elect to the seat. The question is, which appointment method best respects the voter intent? Board continuity, transparency, and the need to keep the town functioning. My opinion is in this case, the next highest vote getter represents the clearest available expression of voter sentiment when the board must make an appointment. An open application process can be more subjective because the board can choose from anyone who applies, including people who have never recently tested their support with the voters. By contrast, looking to the next highest vote getter uses an objective, public, already certified election result. It does not guarantee perfection, but it is not arbitrary. The fact is, the next highest vote getter still receives actual votes from Emerald Isle citizens in a recent municipal election. These voters made a public, measurable choice. That is a stronger democratic signal than an application submitted after the fact by someone who may have never faced that electorate or that already has and the voters rejected. Emerald Isle has its own precedent, including the 2023 appointment of Commissioner Sanderson by going to the next highest vote getter. Consistency matters. If the board used that process before and found it acceptable, using it again is not inherently unfair. It may actually avoid the appearance of changing the rules to reach a preferred outcome. Public participation can occur at the special meeting through written comments and through public discussion. Transparency does not require a lengthy application process if the board clearly states the method, explains the rationale, and votes in open session. Thank
Thank you, Mayor. To answer the young lady's question about, is this the only way? No. The short answer to that is no. The way that is set in our rules of procedure now is that the board, excuse me, is charged or tasked with appointing a replacement to fill that unexpired chair. That is the rule as it is written. Can the rule be changed? Yes, the board would have to change that rule if we were to go to an application process or another in-house election, if you will. And I don't even know if that would be legal. You'd have to check with the Board of Elections on that to make sure we didn't do that wrong. But the process as it sits right now is that anytime, for any reason, if a commissioner vacates that seat, then the remaining board is tasked with filling that seat by way of a roll call vote. The mayor would open the floor for nominations. The board would make their nominations. They would close it, and then we'd have a roll call vote with the highest vote getter filling that chair. In the event of a 2-2 tie, as we have done it in the past and as the rules are, the mayor is not able to break that tie per a vote that I errantly made a couple of years ago and broke a tie for a planning board member. We spent a lot of time going back and forth on whether my vote should have counted there, because in the event of a 2-2 tie, the mayor does break the tie, but we learned that it was, our rules contradicted with state statute, and that it only applied to agenda items, say the budget or a dog park or whatever, but it was contradictory, and that I should not have made that vote. So it's a lot of, the water's kind of muddy there, but to answer that question, the process that is set forth now, that is written now, is that the remaining board would basically nominate a replacement, whether they were the next highest vote getter or not, and then we would have a roll call vote. If there's a 2-2 tie, the way the rule's written now, the procedure's written now, you would vote again, you would vote again, and you would vote again until you had a majority. So I'm not necessarily opposed to an application process. I'm not necessarily saying that we should, I'm not saying that we should appoint the next highest vote getter. But I will agree with the fact that an application process with someone who either A, has no experience, B, has no support, measurable support, I get that, and I don't disagree with that. However, the next highest vote getter, or the vote getter after that, or the vote getter after that, yes, they received votes. Are they the right person for the chair? It's to be determined, and as the rule is written, it would be up for this board to hopefully come to some kind of consensus on.
Okay, Chris?
Thanks, Mayor. First of all, I'm not bought or sold by anybody, and I'm not playing any charades or games up here. So I take this position very seriously, and respectfully, I'm disappointed that we are in this position, that there is no rules about how this needs to go in this day and age. This is 2026, and we have no rules for this community on this type of situation. Last I checked, we live in a democracy, and when we don't defend that right to vote, then that's when things get messy. And I know there's public optics out there on both sides. People are bought and sold on this side, people are bought and sold on that side. I'm not playing that game. For me, this is about who stepped forward to run in this election and who put the time in. I believe there are very qualified candidates out there. But if we don't come to a decision where we are transparent about what we're doing, we're just going to have this constant churn. And we need to get away from it. The next highest vote getter lost by 30 votes. To me, that shows the public support. This election was 6 months ago. I don't think very much has changed since then. Do I feel like incumbents from the past have the experience? Absolutely. Whoever wanted to run should have stepped forward when the process was open to step forward. In order to maintain our integrity with this community, we need to establish some rules first. That's where I'm at right now with this. Because in the past, it's been an appointment. In the past, it's been the next vote getter. It's always about what is the narrative at that time. Let's just be transparent and come up with the rules that need to make this the right decision.
Okay, so from here, I don't quite know where to go. So we're at, Jason, did you, where are you at in the conversation? Were you leaning towards opening it up and pausing, or were you leaning, is that where you were?
Again, I will have an open discussion with you all, anybody in the room, as far as how the process should go or is going to go. Basically, where we are right now, we have the ability to appoint someone today. We have the ability to push it out until after the budget cycle. We have the ability to change the rule and add an application process, but we're going to be, if we do it today, or if we change the rule and have an application process and it still circles back to where we're sitting today, and the only thing that would change out of that is that we have reviewed applications. Some may have been people that have served on the board before. Some may be people that had ran in the last election and didn't quite get there, but we will be right back where we are today. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, we could have 10 applications, and are we really gonna review all 10 applications, or are we going to seriously consider someone that applies that has little to no working knowledge of the budget, little to no working knowledge of the town's active and future projects? And is that not going to lead us right back to where we're sitting right now, where there's a couple of names being thrown out there, and it comes back to that vote, whether it's a tie or a majority or whatever, excuse me. I think that would further damage the optics as far as, we can have an application process if you want to. We can review 10 applications if you want to, but if we sit up here and debate and vote on the same 2 or 3 names, we've wasted everybody's time, and I don't want to play that game.
But I don't know if we would be voting on the same 2 or 3.
We might not be.
Right?
We might not be. There's that possibility.
I think my point of view is that we won't know unless we try. And what would be the harm in giving it a try? If we end up voting between the same situation, then we're still in the same situation. And,
Right.
and I feel like it'd be worth a try. Speaking with other municipalities throughout our area, they all chose to go that route. Years and years back, and they all felt like it was the right way to be open and transparent with the communities. And they also changed I was speaking with Mark, and there is a way that we can change our method of voting. It doesn't have to be a roll call vote. It can be a written vote, and that's something we can discuss as well, if we can move down that path. But personally, I truly feel like we just need to give it some time, and we need to hear from more people.
I'm not shutting in, please understand, and this is.
Well, this is a discussion, right?
Right, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
we're doing, yeah.
This is in response to that, to you and to everybody. I'm not closed to the idea, but what is very important to me, 2 things that are very important to me is I'm not bought or sold by anybody, and don't plan on being. I've always tried my best, whether I got it right every time or not. I've always tried my best to listen to everybody, be fair to everybody, and to take the needs of everybody in this town, residents, taxpayers, business owners, at heart. I've made it a strong point of mine to leave my feelings at the door when I walk into this room to try to do a good job for the town, because that's where they belong. This needs to be about everybody in this town. And I've always tried to do that. It's always been very important to me, and it will stay that way. I'm not opposed to an application process. I'm always open to a new idea, and always open to trying to do it right and trying to do things the right way. Because at the end of the day, we all took an oath to serve everybody in this town to the best of our abilities, and whenever my time is done here, that's the last thing in the world I would want is for somebody to say that I didn't do that, because I've always tried to. So I'm not closed-minded to the application and then review process. The only thing that concerns me about that is, like I said earlier, would be the optics of it, is if we do an application process, push this out, come back, and we're having the same exact discussion, something good might come out of it. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But I do also echo Commissioner Sanderson's thoughts, is that regardless of who we were to bring back today, we're less than a month away from adopting a budget. Any newly appointed commissioner would have a vote in that budget. How in tune is anybody that hadn't been sitting here for the last 6 to 12 months? How in tune is anybody that wasn't in the budget retreat in January, whether they've served or not, no matter how many votes they've got, no matter who it is, how in tune are they? I don't see the harm in application process or not. Given this thing 30 days, let us get through the budget cycle and, again, make every effort we can to do it the right way. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how we do it, regardless of who gets appointed or who gets voted in, we have to answer for it. And that is very important to me.
Yeah, Mayor, yeah, we have some serious work ahead of us. We have a budget meeting, I think, Monday and
Tuesday.
But and we need someone to fill that seat so we can have full discussions in case there's any recusals in that budget meeting. So having the seat filled today, I think, is very important, very critical to that mission. We also have public safety, beach nourishment, stormwater infrastructure, development pressure, protection of our coastal resources, preserving the character of Emerald Isle. The person appointed to this seat should begin with the strongest possible public legitimacy, and that's probably would come from letting by the voters. The voters decided who that next person would be, in my opinion.
Do we foresee any recusals in the budget voting process? Does anybody see any potential for a recusal in the budget process? We have
No.
we have 4 sitting commissioners, and I'm just asking out loud for discussion's sake. Do we foresee any recusals in the budget process?
No.
Budget voting process, I'm sorry.
No.
Not just throwing everything on the wall, whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's why
Someone
we're
might be sick.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
Throwing everything out there. So
Do we need to touch on that or no?
I'm sorry?
Do we need to touch on why the answer is no this time or not today?
Doesn't matter to me.
well, I'll just say this, by going with fourth place vote getter, it provides continuity, legitimacy, and fairness. It avoids the appearance that the board is reaching past the voters' next choice to select a preferred political associate. So it gives the public a process they can understand, even if they don't agree with every member of the board. And in a time when public trust in our government's already fragile, I believe that matters deeply.
It sounds like we're kind of at an impasse here, so I say let's just go ahead and vote and see where we fall.
I have one more thing to add. This vacancy doesn't belong to the board. It belongs to this community. The issue is not who the board members personally prefer. It's who already earned the confidence of the voters.
But you know how that person got that confidence? Right. That person got that confidence because Ronnie Watson paid $70,000 to get Doug Brownlow, Jay Wooten, and Josh Sawyer.
Ma'am, I strongly object to if you're talking out of order, I'll object to that. And
If we could please,
I'm not bought paid, and if you agree with my vote, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too.
if we can please,
Attorney Saletto, can you answer this question? What's first here, the chicken or the egg? Do we need to establish a process first and then vote, or are we voting and then establishing a process going forward?
Commissioner Plum. I would say this, Frank, I, and the school government have discussed this week, and we do have concerns with Rule 31 as written. And I do want to clarify some things that have been said. Number one, to answer the question that was asked earlier, the Board of Commissioners is the only one who can appoint. That would be NCGS 160A-63. Vacancies on elective office positions shall be filled by appointment of the City Council. How that is done is up to these people before you. What I will say is, what happened in 2022 was there was a resignation, there was an appointment. Our charter mandates that appointments serve the rest of the term irrespective of intermediary elections. At that time, the board unanimously agreed that in the interest of democracy, we are going to create a resolution in which that appointed individual will voluntarily resign and the fourth place vote getter will be appointed for the remainder of that term. That was a one-time thing. Take that for what it's worth. To go fast forward then to 2024 was the last time we were in a position where there was a tie and the Mayor Holland voted. Here's where we are with that. The charter, our charter, allows the mayor to vote on everything. State law, as Mr. Holland said, mandates that only on yes or no, affirmative, negative is the actual wording of the statute, may they vote. We have the choice as to what to follow. Our rules of procedure have it where the mayor wouldn't be able to vote on appointments, where it would be person A or person B.
Excuse me.
Our charter would allow for that. The decision that was made last time was that the mayor's vote would count, did count, and it was held. Where I see issue right now is that our rules of procedure are against our charter, and that's a problem. Our charter is from the General Assembly itself, is state law that mandates how we move forward. My recommendation would be, we need our appointment rule, Rule 31, to be in line with our charter and to dictate how we need to move forward without ambiguity. Because as of right now, you're seeing that you're being left with multiple choices as to how to move forward on this vote, and that's not great. So we need to have that streamlined appointment procedure in place so it's not up to decision whether or not that mayor vote will be permissible or not. Because as of right now, it would have to be y'all's decision as to whether or not you would allow the mayor to vote because of the precedent that we have right now. If we were to streamline that Rule 31 to more effectively carry out what y'all's wishes are, that would be how I would prefer to move forward. But at the end of the day, y'all could call a roll call vote right now. We carry under our prior procedure and go from there.
Wow, okay. So, to summarize that, we can change procedure.
You can. You can
Yeah.
choose to suspend the rules and put an intermediary voting procedure in effect. That would require 3/4 of you, well, 3 out of 4 of the sitting board. It's 2/3, but obviously we only have 4. Or you can choose to amend. That would be under a standard vote, standard majority. Or you choose to move forward as written. And I would vouch that as written right now, Frank, I, and the School of Government all agreed that it is rather ambiguous. And you guys have seen how we've dealt with it in the past, a variety of ways. And it would be up to y'all to choose what way you would want to move forward for this particular one.
So suspending the procedure would entail suspending the roll call votes for
In
appointment?
favor of an alternate form of voting that you all
An
would agree
alternate
on.
form of voting, okay.
So we're trying to determine whether or not Mayor Lagas can break the tie.
Essentially so. And as of last time, the answer would be yes, given what happened and given that our charter does allow for it. State law would say otherwise. Our rules of procedure are at the bottom. That is created by this board. It is subservient to anything that comes from the General Assembly, AKA state law, NCGS, or our charter. And policy would favor listening to the charter because that is our specific act made for us by the Assembly.
Okay. Does everyone understand that 100%?
I think I'm still trying to grasp that.
There's a
I
lot.
don't know if it's.
I'd be happy to send copies of the specific language that I'm referencing in the charter. And if you go back and look at there wasn't great discussion at the 2024 appointment, but essentially council at that time just said, our research shows that the mayor was permitted, it was not an unlawful vote, which is correct because our charter would allow the mayor to vote on everything.
Now, can the mayor vote, I mean, I understand about like appointments on a planning board or a and a committee, but this is the Board of Commissioners. So can the mayor vote on the,
No distinction
Appointments
between
are
anything.
appointments.
It just says the mayor may vote on all questions in our charter.
and you're saying we can suspend that temporarily? Or
No, the charter cannot be suspended. What can be suspended is the rule of procedure, which says otherwise, and then in addition to mandating the roll call vote.
So the
You
method of
said if you wanted
voting.
the mayor to break a tie, you'd have to suspend the rule in the state statute under Rule 31. We would have to vote affirmative to suspend Rule 31 that says the mayor cannot break a tie. Basically, we would say, if you wanted the mayor to break a tie today, we would have to agree that we're going to ignore the state statute just for this, and then go back to it on everything else.
Well, it wouldn't be just for this. We would just follow the charter, which is also state statute.
And meanwhile, we could look at our rules and our policies and our charter and change that if we felt it necessary to do that.
Charter, no. Charter can only be changed by the General Assembly. The rules of procedure are the only things that we are in control of, so we can change to make Rule 31 in line with our charter.
Rule 31 is the
Is
method
for
of
appointments, method of appointments, yes. And then, in addition, if you guys wanted to change away from roll call to some other form of voting,
But we could
Be able to
petition
do
the General Assembly to, if we want to amend our charter or something.
that is the route you'd have to take, correct?
Chris, is that where you were going with your question?
Yes, because I read through all of these rules, and it's very, not black and white, it's very gray.
Agreed.
So we here need to establish some type of protocol.
And I will say, in 2024, where it was left off was a 5-0 vote to amend Rule 31, but that council ended up leaving, so I don't think that ever got brought back up.
Sounds like everybody needs to go back to school on our rules of procedure, everybody, myself included, go back to school on the rules of procedure in Rule 31.
So,
If
sorry.
That's okay.
Do we need to put forth a motion to establish the ability of our mayor to break a tie? Is that what our next step is?
That already exists through the charter,
Okay?
so that no motion would be needed. You all can make the decisions on this. You see what's been put before you. I can only lob it up to you with what is written and what our statutes and what our procedures say. It is up to y'all to make that decision based on precedent and law. And if you wish to clarify your rules of procedure and move this down the line, certainly you can do so.
Can I understand a little bit more from the board on why the sense of urgency to have this vote taken today and not pushed until after the budget?
I'm not in a hurry.
I'm not in a hurry.
Because we do have our budget meeting on Tuesday. And therefore, if we made a plan today, I just would feel much more comfortable if the person we appoint, I don't know, I just feel like we need more time
I
on this.
don't see a problem. I don't want to bypass the will of the people. If they voted, it's already been established.
But they also voted for us to uphold our current rules of procedure, which is that we have the authority to make the appointment. So yes, the last election did create results. However, it also created all of us, or not all of us, but a few of us sitting up here to withhold what is currently in place.
It was good enough in 2023 or 22, whenever it occurred. Why is it not good enough now?
But it also wasn't always used as indefinitely in history.
22 was the exception,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken,
historically-
Mark.
That was a one-time resolution
Correct.
for that purpose. It can be instructive, it cannot. That's up to y'all.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more arbitrary, I guess, if you do it one time.
When I errantly, or according to pushback, when I voted to break a tie on the planning board, like I said, there was a lot of discussion on whether or not I should have voted. Anyway, we had the option to repeal my vote. I followed up, and we'll have to go back and read the minutes, but in the following meeting, in the meeting the following month, I sat up here and told God and everybody, hey, I did it wrong. I shouldn't have made that vote based on all the conversations, based on all the rules. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. It was an honest mistake in the way I view it, it was an honest mistake. I thought I was supposed to break the tie. I said it before I made the vote that I didn't want to be in that position. That's why I ran for mayor instead of commissioner at the time. But it was my vote to break that tie for the planning board member vacancy was highly contested. So that's the reason that I brought up the discussion about the mayor breaking the tie. Mayor Lagos and I had that conversation 3-ish weeks ago. Said, well, what if it comes to this? Well, a couple of years ago, this happened. Excuse me, I broke the tie. A lot of people didn't like it. It was contested. I'm not sure how much money we spent on attorney fees reviewing it to try to get a legal opinion. But I do remember following up in the next meeting saying, hey, we got that one wrong. We got that one wrong. I'm sorry about that.
And I would just say to clarify on that, you had lawful authority to do so. The fact that rules of procedure say differently, it's your choice as mayors at the end of the day, which one to follow.
I make a motion that we amend the rules of procedure to allow the mayor to break a tie if necessary on appointments moving forward.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So that was 3-1? Okay. Motion passed.
I can circulate a copy to the board of proposed new 31.
Okay.
Okay, so at least we accomplished something.
Yes. So are we waiting until we get the change of procedure in place to take the next
It's effective
step?
now, right?
I mean, it would be effective now.
Okay.
In that sense, I can circulate that redrafted with the understanding that the only change is that we are now in line with the charter that you may vote on
Okay.
all tie-breaking matters.
Okay.
We're gonna take nominations or?
I don't think that's up to me at this point, is it? So would you,
If you're ready to try to move forward with an appointment, the procedure would be for you to open the floor for nominations. The board
Okay.
would nominate, you would close the board,
Okay.
the nomination window, and then it would go to a roll call vote.
okay, well, I apologize to everyone that I don't know.
Oh,
this
you're,
one.
no.
No, you're
while we're all
fine,
here,
Kyle.
I'm still learning with this.
You are good.
I mean, that is not my first choice. So if I need to do it due to procedure, I will, if I must, but that is not my first choice for today.
I personally do not want to take an application process. The people who ran for election stepped forward, you know their platforms, you voted on them, they put the time in. I don't want to appoint somebody who thinks, oh, I just want to put my hat in the ring. That is not the way this works. That is not how you're fair and transparent. I'll say it again, our community already voted, that was 6 months ago. I don't think much has changed since then. I know we have a vacancy on the board. I don't like that we're in this position today, but this is where we are. And again, this isn't about personal opinion. I can work with Jay Wooten, I can work with Jamie Vogel, I worked with Josh. This is about what you all want. I'm not going to make a decision from an application process when this isn't about me. This is about what we already know from our voters.
Discounting all the votes for Josh Stewart, you really should open up this to public comments based on all of this discussion.
Okay, next time.
We can open it back up? You want to open it back up?
Will it change anyone's opinion if we open it back up?
I'm always open to hear what anyone has to say and take it into consideration.
Make a motion to add to this agenda a public hearing segment before the vote goes to the board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And before we do that, I want to have a discussion. Can we do that, Mark? Without advertising for it?
We've already adopted the agenda, so I would say at this point, I don't think you could well, it's a public hearing that's already been noticed.
If we
so-
can't, I'll stand corrected, obviously.
I think we should figure out how we want to move forward first, and if there is going to be another meeting on this, which would have another public hearing, that would be,
But can we put a
Advisable.
public hearing, a second public hearing in a,
I mean, it would be
for a different subject?
the reopening of, I mean, this public comment is public comment for anything. I mean, they could have came up and said anything they wanted at that public comment, so
So you can revisit the public comment.
revisit the public comment as noticed. I think that would be permissible. If you want to do that today, you can. If you guys are going to choose to do this at another day, there'll be another public comment that day as well. So we can all allow it to stew, or you can reopen this public comment that we had earlier today.
Frankie, have you ever experienced a reopening of a public comment in a meeting?
I think it's completely up to you all whether or not you want to accept additional public comment in the meeting. I mean, that's purely the decision of the mayor and the board. So if you want to do that, absolutely you can do that. If not, you don't have to.
I just want to make sure it's legal. He said, I think, I know you can do this type talk, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine, right? I mean, obviously, we had the public comment period at the beginning of the meeting. There's nothing that would preclude you all from accepting additional public comments.
I think that now that you've all heard what we've had to say, I'd like to hear what the public has to say.
It
Yeah,
is legal.
it's where, let's reopen, I make a motion to reopen the public comments because that's what we're asking for. We're asking to represent the people. So tell us what you think.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I do ask, as you come up to the podium, that you do remain respectful and understand that we are all trying to make the best decision for the town and nothing, we don't have any ulterior motives, okay? So I guess we'll take a raise of hands first. Okay, if you will, please. And please try to keep it to the 3-minute time. Okay.
My name is Linda McRae. I live at 104 Main Street. You talked about the next highest vote getter. People voted for Josh Sawyer. If he was not running, who would be the next highest vote getter? It's not guaranteed. It would be the person who lost by 30 votes. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Elaine.
Please consider that person may not have been the next highest vote getter.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Pam Moss. I live at 9254 Ocean Drive. I would support the application process. Using y'all's wisdom, looking at the people who would apply and who would be willing to fill the spot, based upon their past experience, what they have done, have they served on the board, not on the board, have they done the ethics training, have they not, where are they at? That still comes to a vote, but I think it gives you guys the willingness of the people who would like to be considered and not just assume it would be the 4th, 5th, 6th place based upon how we've only voted for 3 and not for 4 or 5. So I would support that application process and rely on you guys for your judgment. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, I remember seeing your hand up next. Did you have yours too?
I am Peter Carey from 109 Coquina. And one thing I'm seeing here is you guys need to decide whether or not you're going to be using the vote system or the application system. I think that's a straightforward decision. And I think that the procedure needs to be changed. Next time, whether or not if there's a vacancy, we're going to have an application process or take the voters, members to decide who's going to fill the vacancy. I'm thinking that is a very straightforward decision, that procedure would be clear that, so no matter when anybody leaves our position, it's either going to be, all right, now we have to have an application process, and in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we'll have to make a review and decide, or we make the decision that whenever there's a vacancy, we'll go down the list and get the next highest voter, and that person will be elected. But like, I agree per the people electing that person, and I also agree with there was a lot of bias in this last election with a lot of influence from other party, from a single party, that I think I agree with that, and that happened. And I just want the board to be clear to say, this is the procedure we need to change, and this might be the opportunity to say, okay, let's go with that. We're going to stick with that highest vote. The next vote, highest voter, and we're gonna do it this way, and that will be the new procedure. You know, be like a practice for that. As much as I don't like that way, I prefer the application way, but I think the application way is a little bit more messier and be more difficult for the board. That's my understanding.
Thank you, Peter. Next. Yes, sir.
I'm Jeff Ward, I live on Live Oak Street. I just want to remind people what happened in 2022. Candace Dooley stepped down to take the Parks and Rec job. And the board was left in the same position you are right now. I voted for Josh Sawyer in that election, where he lost by 17 votes. And when the board appointed somebody else, it left a bad taste in my mouth. Because I thought that Josh should have had that seat then. If you guys do that again, it's gonna leave a bad taste in my mouth this time. Josh ran, he should have been appointed back then. Wooten ran, he should be the one that's appointed now.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, all right. Does that leave us in a place we want to do a roll call vote?
I think we need to decide whether we're going application or nomination.
Okay. So shall we,
I say that we open this to nominations.
I second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So do we just start going down with nominations? This is my first one ever. Yep, okay. Alicia?
I nominate Jamie Vogel.
All right. I'll say, before I cast my nomination, if experience is the argument, Mr. Wooten has that experience. If continuity is an issue, he was the most recent person to hold office. If voter preference is the argument, he's clearly the proper choice because he was the fourth place vote getter. And those facts make him the appropriate appointment for the Emerald Isle Commission, in my opinion. So I nominate Jay Wooten.
May I add one thing to my comment?
Yes.
In reference to Mr. Ward's comments, we have to remember that Josh Sawyer was elected in '23, not in '25. The next highest vote getter was myself, who was appointed for a 2-year term based on a predetermined resolution by the prior board. So the 5th highest vote getter in that election was Jamie Vogel. And I think that we should go back to the year that Josh Sawyer was elected, because that's when the people spoke for this seat.
Okay, Jason?
All right. With respect to vote getters, with respect that in the past 6 years I've served along the third board now. I have served with Jay, I've served with Jamie, some of you before. I won't talk it to death, but based on experience, on my experience, and who I think is capable of doing the best job for all the residents of this island, I nominate Jamie Vogel.
This issue is not whether a former commissioner is capable. The issue is whether or not the board should substitute its own preference for the judgment voters already made in the most recent election. And based on those facts, I nominate Jay Wooten.
Okay. I appreciate everybody
People outside.
making that change of procedure before this happened.
Close it for nominations and then you.
Okay. Is this closed for nominations? A motion to close for nominations?
Make a motion, we close nominations.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I know. So I think,
make the roll call first to
I'm
make that
sorry.
official.
Yeah, make the roll call
Okay.
to make it official, and then you would cast your vote.
Okay. This is kind of embarrassing, I don't know this, so I really do apologize, everybody. Okay.
It's okay.
Alicia,
Jamie Vogel.
okay,
Wooten?
okay,
Vogel.
okay,
Wooten.
okay. So where I'm at with this is that I am going to go with the most recent election. And I understand that that's not most of the sentiment in this room, but I do feel like it's the most fair because it is the most recent and it represents where we're at today. So I am going to vote with Jay, for Jay Wooten.
These are not a voting public.
Right.
This is a room full of retired people,
Okay,
not the
so
whole voting public.
with that, motion adjourned,
So moved.
or motion, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all.
I'll circulate a copy of that new Rule 31 to you.